Chapter 21. I hate this game, I said while leaning my head on my hand. Ian chuckles. That's just because you suck. No, you just cheat. I argue back. I would have won already if you didn't suddenly change the rules. Ian laughs. I didn't change the rules. You just never knew all of them, and I just informed you of the ones you didn't know. I stared at him unconvinced. You only began to inform me when you started to win. Ian moves his piece and says, checkmate. I groan in annoyance. I don't want to play anymore. He snickers. That's okay. I've already won anyways. Ian said, with a smug look on his face. I felt my wolf surge forward in a challenge. I want to play again, I said with my evil eyes. I don't want to embarrass you again. No, he said cheekily. I smiled politely. I am about to destroy you in this game. You know, Iris, Donnie said from the couch. I think it's time for you to accept that you just suck at it. I glare at his head. You're not the one playing this game, Donnie, so stay out of it. Donnie raises his hands. Just stating facts. Little girl, if I throw a bone, will you chase it and go away? His head whips around and he scowls. I am not a dog. I am a wolf. And so are you. I roll my eyes. Don't get your balls in a twist. Donnie, will you both please shut up? Ian growls. I am too sober to be winning at this game and listening to you two bickering. She's the troublemaker, Donnie exclaims, pointing at me while standing up on the couch. We're not 5 anymore. Donnie, and get down from the couch. Doug, sit on the floor, I said through laughing. Donnie's eyes bung out of his head. You're a bloody dog too. Shut up, Ian shouts. Donnie glares at me and to it back. He mouthed to me, you're going to get it. I shook my head. And mouth. Try me. I stood up from the chair and went to the window. The moon was still shining to my convenience. I felt my legs become fidgety. I couldn't exactly go out for a run anymore because of what happened last time. I'm gonna go for a little bit of a wander around the castle. Okay, Donnie said while gaming on his Xbox. Be careful still, Ian said. You're your target now, so just be aware. I smiled and nodded my head. I walked out of the drawing room, leaving the boys doing whatever they were gonna do. My mind were drawn to the memories of last night. Last night, Oz had not gotten angry at the fact I was literally going through his personal things. He has gotten more kind towards me, not as cold, and though I didn't want to admit it, I liked it. I turned a corner and kept walking down this random hall. My eyes admired the small details, designs, and accent on the walls and ceilings. It held a lot of history, a history that I felt somehow connected to. Maybe it's because I'm a assassinate. And is as ancient as ever. With flat out for you. You shouldn't be wandering these halls alone. Speak of the devil. I turned around and saw Oz, standing there with his hands behind his back. Archias always randomly appearing when I'm alone. Is it not safe in your own home? Vlad has been inside here before. He knows these halls. I would feel better knowing that you have one of the others with you at all times. I took a step forward and said in a grumbling voice, because I am your precious curse breaker. Right. I expect Oz to say a snarky comment, agreeing that I am nothing but a means. But he stood there silent, which is not gone unnoticed. He casually walks toward me, stopping very close. I bite my lower lip, feeling a bit awkward. RSS catch the action, he gulps and looks back at my eyes. Actually, I'm glad I bumped into you. After I break your curse, I know you will probably say no. But can I please go back to my pack? I glanced up at Oz and see he was staring ahead, with his jaw tightening by the second, his eyes icing over in a cold shell. But not before I saw something. A hint, a slight reflection of sadness. His nose flared. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I won't have any use of you afterwards. He stares down at me. Then suddenly, out of the blue, he cups my face and brings it near his. His eyes widen slightly in shock and worry as he stared into my eyes. What? I exclaimed. Oz snarls. They're flickering back from blue to yellow. My eyes widen in a panic. What? Why, what's going on? Oz growls. Did he bite you? I didn't answer straight away. He jerks my head and shouts, Vlad. Did he bite you? I raised my hand and felt the punctured holes. What the hell? They weren't there before. Thought it didn't happen. Oz growled. It's not your fault. It's an old vampire magic. Once they bite, you'll feed off of you. At the same time, it erases memories attached to that moment, or makes it difficult to remember. I guess my power didn't fully cleanse your mind of its sorcery. I felt my heart beat fast. I don't know that much about vampire. Is it venomous? Of course it's venomous. Oz grabs my hand and drags me down the halls. We need to see as I quickly. He kept dragging me down random hallways. Wait. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. But he ignored me. Oz, I feel okay. Doesn't that mean you'll be okay? Maybe Nika Wally. Oz stopped abruptly and turns to me sharply and raises his voice. Are you stupid? Do you realize how serious this is? You could die. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You could become like one of them. I shook him off and shouted. Stop yelling at me. I didn't even know vampires freaking existed till yesterday. I don't know what's true and what's not. Oz grips his hair as he growls. Damn it. His yell echoes out into the hallways, making flinch at the sudden loud voice. He grabs my wrist and starts dragging me down the hall fast. It was hard to keep up with him with my smaller legs. Hold on. Wait. Tell me what's going on. Oz did not answer. He just kept walking till he opens the door to Ozier's office. As I raises his head from his book and frowns at the sight of us. What's going on? He asks in concern. Oz pulls me in front of him. Iris been bitten. Oz's eyes widen. He immediately stood from his chair and walked around his desk to come toward me. Seeing him be so quick to my side did not comfort me at all. I didn't know what was going. Can someone please explain what this means? I yelled. As I has a look at my eyes, and he looked anxious, which again did not calm my nerves at all. If Vlad does not withdraw his poison from your body, you will officially be in transition. Oz said. My heart stopped. Wait. What? You mean I could become a vampire? Oz pinches the bridge of his nose and takes a deep breath. Oz AI answers me. Yes, you could. Well, how long do I have? What will happen? Did he take any blood? Or did he just bite? As AI asked as if he were doctor in the ear. He just bit me. That's it. I said in a shaky voice. As I grins at me comfortingly. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. That's good news then. If he had taken your blood, replacing it with his venom, you could have been a vampire already. But seeing as the venom will need time to process, we may have a chance to try and extract it. Is there like a way to just get it out? I began to hyperventilate. Don't want to be a vampire. Don't. I see, can't. Oz was right in front of me. He didn't touch me, but he stood pretty close. You need to calm down. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I shook my head and felt myself getting a little dizzy. I didn't even know vampires were real. I thought they were extinct. I've never been taught anything about them. I see, can't. Don't know if I can get through this. It's just there's so much to take in. I feel like I'm gonna. Oz tucks a hair behind my ear. Tell me about your family, he says in a leveled voice. What? I said, confused. His eyes were locked on mine. Look at me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Now tell me about your family. What is your mother like? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You are... She has black hair. She always gave me good advice and good hugs. She was always there when I was going through stuff because of my blindness. My messy mind raking through the memories. Oz nods encouragingly. She sounds lovely. Now tell me about your father. Tears built in my eyes. But I notice my breathing has gotten better. Our cheers very strong. He always protected me. He always comforted me. He always treated me like I was made out of glass. He always wanted me to stay with him and mother. Oz smirks. Yeah, he sure did. He didn't like me taking you away. Did he? Though I was panicking. I laughed a little. I felt my legs go weak. I reached my hand out. I need to sit down. I felt Oz lightly hold my waist in case I fell. I landed on the chair heavily. I didn't want to become a vampire. I hold my head in my hands, and I tried to take deep breaths. I glanced up. Oz was staring at me intensely while clenching his jaw. He turns to his AI and says in a hard voice, "What's the fastest way to get the bloody poison out of her?" As AI sighs and rubs his eyes in stress. I need to research this. I've never encountered something so severe. Vampires rarely interact with werewolves. Oz snarls and slams his hand on the table. That's not good enough. Help her now. There must be something that will give more time. Oz eyes around the room, picking up books and finding papers as he said, "You could do the ritual." RSS scowls at his eye in disagreement. He stops what he was doing, holding books in his hand as he said seriously, "The rate the poison ravels through the system is determined by how strong the werewolf gene is. If her genes are weak, then there won't be much time." With a glare, R says, "Then how do we fix it? The only way to fix something like that is if the wolf has a strong mate. A powerful mate." R stills. His back was to me as he was facing his eye. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He said quietly to himself. Oz turns around. "I'll mark you." My eyes widening in shock, but was then transitioning into a scowl. No. Marking is a sacred part of mating. I won't do it so lightly. This is not a light situation. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Oz says in a dark and low voice, "I don't care. If anyone is to mark me, it will be the person that loves me. So no." Oz appears in front of me and shouts, "Just let me save you." Lillian. All of us were silenced. Oz was right in front of me with an intense expression. He closes his eyes to get a hold of himself. "Just let me do it." He opens eyes. But I did not budge no matter how pained I felt for him. No. He stands to his feet and turns around. He kicks one of the coffee tables down and yells in frustration. I flinch as I heard his violent voice. I stand up and turn to his eye. "Please try to research as much as you can. If I cannot be saved, that I want someone to kill me." I could see Oz's face falter slightly at my request, but he nods his head in respect. "I will get it out of you." To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He goes back to looking through some books. I walked out of the room, still shaken by the news that poison was in my veins. I heard footsteps walk quickly behind me. I frowned, turned around. Oz was marching towards me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. What ray you, but I was at a loss for words when he pulls me in. I screamed for him to stop when I saw his fangs elongate as he plunges them into my neck. I squeeze my eyes shut and I grip onto his shoulders for support. He pulled me tightly against him as I felt my legs weaken. It was a sort of transferring sensation pouring out of his fangs. I felt something inside of me, as if my very soul was being energized. A rejuvenating experience. It felt like a thick rope tying our hearts together. With that tying, I also felt a pool of lustful desire creep into my core. I suddenly felt every nerve of us touching each other as I growled in the pleasure that clouded my mind. He withdraws as my mind clears from the haze and I see his eyes glow brightly and his mouth stained with my blood. "I'm not sorry," he said with no remorse. "I will do what I must to keep you safe." As I processed what just happened, I was completely enraged. I felt as if something pure from me was stolen by a monster. I push him off me and yell, "You disgusting bastard. How could you steal such a sacred thing from me?" This was supposed to be a precious act, not one of necessity or carelessness. Tears ran down my face. In the werewolf world, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Arcanos, marking is extremely sacred. It is closely equivalent to losing your innocence. It is the expected step toward the physical act of deflooring, and he just stole it from me. I held my hand on my wound to stop the bleeding. How could you? He just stands there, not affected by my emotional pain. I don't care. You're safe. You can hate me if you want, but as long as you're alive, then I'm not sorry. I stumbled backwards. Safe. I am nothing to you. I am marked by a man that doesn't see me beyond his curse. Our stance is still straight and tense, his eyes glowing as bright as the moon as he said, "Well, maybe I do." My mind had gone hazy. My vision had gone blurry as my head began to spin. The last thing I felt was myself falling. I opened my eyes to see I was in a bedroom. No, mine. I took a deep breath and smelt only ours. I felt myself become fully awake as I realized I was in his room. I sat up. Oh yes, this is definitely his room. There was a very bold design carved into the marble roof, a black chandelier with candles lit. The fire was not on. His bed was massive and dark. It was a navy blue mixed with silver and a black canopy hanging. I turned my gaze to giant glass doors where ours was standing, looking up at the moon. I got out of bed, feeling fine. I went and leaned against the door. "I don't forgive you," I said in a cold voice. I wanted him to know that he has no place in my life even if our bond is now unbreakable. "And I don't expect you to," he immediately said without turning around. We stood in silence. I didn't know what to feel or what to think. Before, there was a thin strain that was our mate bond, a very, very thin thread that could snap at any moment. But now that he had marked me, no matter how thin or how thick that thread may be, it is permanent. It won't snap. It won't break. It may weaken, but it will never detach from the either of us. And I hated it. I hated that I feel such a desire to rip his clothes off. I hate that I want to desperately feel his touch on my naked skin. I hated this bond. "You lied to me," I said to him. "Vlad told me that we only had to do a ritual to break the spell. Your curse." I saw our shoulders rise and fall calmly. He didn't respond to me. I gently kicked off the door and stood straight. "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you break the curse as soon as we got here? It's been months now. Why have you not done anything? Is this you punishing me? Have I done something to offend the oh-so-great ours?" My voice drenched in disdain and sarcasm. I raised my arms incredulously as I said, "We wouldn't be in this mess if you had just done it then and there. I could have gone home. I could have been with my family. I wouldn't be a vampire. I could be away from you." "I know," he says calmly and silently as if I had not just exploded. I hate how he answered so simply. "You know, that's it. You withheld that information from me by purpose. Did you just want to see me suffer? See me crumble? Did you want to torment me for a little while longer for your own amusement? Why would you not do the ritual right then and there when you came to my pack?" Oz continued to look up at the moon, because I wanted to know what would happen to you afterwards. I didn't understand. My brows furrowed in slight bewilderment. "What?" "I didn't know whether you would live or die after we did the ritual. So I went away. I went away to try find help. To try and see if there was a way where I could break the curse without involving you. That's why he left. He left too. To ensure that I will be okay after the ritual. Why? I ask in total puzzlement. Why would you do that? You don't care about mates. You told me yourself. You told me there's nothing. That my purpose was to break your curse and that's it. I don't understand. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Why would? When I found you 15 years ago, I was shocked. And then I was angry. He said with a hard voice. I was angry that I had a mate. I had been married before and experienced the loss. It changed me. It made me weak. Made me vulnerable. I have centuries worth of enemies. Why would the moon goddess be cruel to have me as a mate to someone like you? Someone so gentle. She is saying that about me. I never wanted a mate. I didn't want you. Iris, he grumbles. Even though I hated what he did, I still flinched at his words. I dropped my gaze to the ground in hopes he doesn't see the disappointment in my eyes. I guess I was still right. He didn't want me. I was good enough. If I ever were to get a mate, my plan was to reject her and find a different way to break the curse. I thought I could do it. That I could reject the one person that I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with. He turns around and looks at me intensely. As much as this information was shocking me, hearing his words only hurt me more. I wish he would get on with it. Reject me. I was sick of beating around the bush. I was sick of the confusion. I just wanted him to rip the band. Aid off so that I can heal and try to move on and be better. He didn't want me. Maybe I was never meant for him. He turns around and licked his beautiful lips and said in a husky tone, but then I saw you. The little flower. I saw you. And I questioned everything I had planned. Whatever angry and cold walls I would try to build around myself. You could make them crumble like and just with one look. And it frustrated me. Because after so long, I wanted to give into it again. To the pull. I saw the guilt. He clenched his jaw as he said, after my last wife, Lillian, she died because I couldn't save her. I went down an even darker path if that's possible and I didn't care. I had no feeling of the sins I've done. I had lost the ability to have compassion and mercy many years ago. Killing was as easy as breathing, no matter who it was, or how young. He still stared at me so direct, so piercing. He was engaged with me. I felt uncomfortable, but then I was also interested in what he was saying. I didn't know what to feel about this, how to feel. It was all such overwhelmingly new information. I felt deeply unworthy of you. His confession surprised me. I shifted my weight around, trying to do something to ease the fidgeting feeling I felt about what he was saying. I had done too much. My soul is stained with the blood of my victims. I felt too evil to even be in your presence. I am no good man. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. But when I found that there could be a chance that you could die from performing the ritual, I realized that I didn't want to take that risk. My eyes snapped to his in complete shock. Was he feeling okay? I was expecting this to be some cruel joke. But I am weak to you. And not your equal. I am nothing compared to your past wives. Repeating the words he said to me. You're my mate. He said calmly yet firmly. My equal. I am weak where you're strong. And you are weak where I'm strong. We fit. We are the same. I stood there breathing deeply, my heart beating fast and my mouth slightly agape. We stood there staring at each other, the moon shining over us. I wanted to give you a reason as to why I will do everything I can to make sure you're kept alive. Whether you like it or not. Whether with your permission or not. I don't care if you hate me or wish me dead. If you are alive, then that is all that matters, he says firmly. I stood there in shock of RS's confession. I was so cautious of this, in trying to squash my hope that this was true. I cannot let myself be vulnerable to him yet. I was afraid that this would be some kind of hoax. That to the end, he was exactly like the rumors had said. But it doesn't change the fact what you did was wrong, and I don't trust you nor forgive you. I never expected you to. I only wanted to inform you of my reasons. Then he turns around and looks back up at the moon. "Rest, Iris. You'll be staying in my room from now on." I cross my arms defiantly. No. I feel much more comfortable in my own bed. I see his shoulders shake of a dark laughter. He looks over his shoulder, a mischievous glint reflecting in his eyes. I was asking. "Flower." Chapter 22. I turn over in my bed and snuggle deeper into the warmth. My bed felt amazingly soft and silky. I breathed deeply in my nose and snapped my eyes open to realize that I was not in my room. I groaned and sat up. I forgot ours forced me into sleeping in his room. I was relieved to see that he was nowhere in sight. My eyes caught a sense of light from the balcony and my breath was caught in my throat when I saw the sun streaming through the curtains. I leap out of bed and opened them fully. My eyes were in shock to see the snowy gardens and trees were bathed in the morning sun. "What the hell?" I mumbled to myself in bewilderment. "It's the day." And I could still see. I looked up at the sky to see the moon on the opposite end to the sun. It was still glowing as brightly as it did in the night. I was happy that the night had stopped and we could bask in the light once again. But a part of me was anxious. I felt as though my time using my eyes was soon to come to an end. Thank goodness. I was sick of the night. I heard Dawes grumble. I turned around and felt heat creep on my cheeks when I saw Oz come out of his bathroom in only a towel. I've never seen him so. My eyes traveled down his muscular body. The droplets of water still on his tight ABS. His arms were literally my thighs. He was just so damn massive. He looked so unearthly. He was absolutely and shockingly. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. But my astonishment was soon distracted when I saw all of the scars on his body, probably from countless battles he has been through. But it somehow only added to him. "It's not a pretty picture, is it?" Oz said while looking through his drawers. My eyes snapped up to him. "To our agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "Oh, it's fine. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "I don't care." I sat on the bed and hesitantly asked, "How do you get them?" He pulled a shirt out of his drawers and said, "I woke up like this." I stilled in astonishment, like when you woke up in the garden with no memory. He nods his head. "Yes, I don't know how I got all these scars. They were already there when I woke up." He drops his towel, revealing, "Well, everything." I smacked my hands over my eyes. "A little warning, please." I yelled at him. I hear him snicker. "You've never seen anyone naked before." Was he joking? I've been blind for most of my life. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. "Oh yeah, forgot about that." He snickered. I roll my eyes and sit the other way. "Why are you up so early?" "Anyways, I gotta do some work." "Work?" "I never knew you actually had stuff to do. I thought it was just you three. You don't have a pack, so what do you even do? You can turn around now." I turned around and squinted my eyes first, just in case he was lying. But fortunately for me, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He was buttoning up his fancy shirt. I never said I didn't have a pack now, did I? I opened my mouth to argue. However, I recalled that he actually never said anything about not having a pack. "I guess I've got an army. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I have to take care of them as well as their families." My brows raised in surprise. I sat still as I was processing another bunch of new information. "Surprised?" "Yeah. I got the impression that you three were just demon wolves that want to destroy everything good and pure in this world." I said snappy lie. He shrugs his shoulders casually. "Of course we do. Doesn't mean we don't got other stuff to do in the meantime." He grabs a silver tie and wraps it around the collar of his neck. "If I still want my army to serve me and my purpose, I need to give them benefits for doing that. I provide for them. I make sure their pups grow strong so then the next generation will serve me as well. Are they the same army you used to attack my pack? I see his body tense. No, he says firmly. I used the roads that were close to the area and know the land. I sat up straighter and crossed my arms. So you knew about Marvisus. You knew about him abusing those young boys. I felt my anger creep in as I come to remember that ours was behind our rogue problem for years. He was the reason why my uncles Ander and my uncle Noah suffered. Oz stands there picking a jacket to wear. No, I didn't know he was kidnapping boys from packs. I made a strict rule that he was only to get rogues. I stood up from the bed and said with a louder voice, "A strict rule. A strict rule didn't stop my uncles getting abused and tortured as children." Well, that is unfortunate, he said as if it wasn't a big deal at all. Oz glanced at my hands and saw that they were rolled into a fist. Unfortunate. You talk like they're just one of your countless faceless victims. They are my family. They are a part of who I am. I go and shove him. But that didn't do much since he was massive. What else have you done that has ruined the lives of others, huh? Do you rape women? Do you get others to do horrible deeds for you? Do you realize that none of your sins will change once your curse is broken? Right. I point hard into his chest and said, "You yourself may not be cursed, but you will forever be plagued by your victims." He grabs me and slams me against the wall. Don't accuse me of things that I didn't do. I have never raped anyone. I don't get people to do my evil bidding. I don't even want to do myself, but I have to. You think I like this? You think I like being a hellhound? I don't. I hate it. I hate what I have become. But I have no choice. He steps away and said through his teeth, "I try to do good. I try to not kill because I don't want to. But the curse has shaped me into who I am. I have these urges when my hand shakes because I want to wreak havoc. But I knew that it's because of the hellhound inside of me. I feel like a drug addict. I'm just waiting for my next hit to kill. But even then, I try to do good. Stay against the wall and cross my arms. How? I haven't seen you try to do good." Oz clenches his jaw. "I left for a month to try and ensure that your life was secure." I scoff. "Don't give me that bullshit. You left to keep your curse breaker safe. That's all I am." Oz growls and says, "Believe whatever the hell you want. But do you remember when I told you to specifically not leave the castle? Do not wander alone. That was me doing good. That was me trying to keep you safe. You ran away and a crowd of men came running after you. You disobeyed me, and now look at where it's gotten you. Vlad saw you, and now you've been bitten. I don't even know if we can save you or not. That wasn't my fault. That was yours." I opened my mouth to snap, but I couldn't. He did warn me. He did try to keep me safe, but I row and that. I didn't listen because I was angry at him. Oz sighs and goes to pick a tie, leaving me standing there. I shook my head. I didn't like you as the monster, and he somehow still made sense. I went to the bed and began to make it as it was before. I mean, was he right? But he had to have expected me to try and leave. He was horrible to me. He treated me like nothing, so of course I would try and leave. Like hell was I going to help someone break his curse when he treats me like crap? Piece of shit. I heard Oz swear to himself. I looked over my shoulder to see his fingers fumbling over the tie. I stood up straight and said in a monotone voice, "Need help." He rolls his eyes and growls, "No." But as I continued to make the bed, he also continued to mess the knot over and over again. I sighed and walked to him hesitantly. I pushed his hands away and began to do his tie. He growls at me, annoyed that I was doing it. I smacked his hand away as he tried to do it himself again. "Just let me do it or you'll be late." I snapped at him. He listened for once, and I finally got the knot tied in neat. I folded the collar over the tie and made sure everything was perfect. I sawdust on the shoulder slightly, so I reached my hands up further and brushed his shoulders. I looked up at him and he was just staring at me. I froze when I realized that it over his suit. I cleared my throat and stepped back. "It's all done." We stood there staring at each other. his eyes traveling up and down my body as I saw desire radiating off him. I felt my body respond to him. Damn this Nate Paul. I gulped and stood back. You're right. His eyes snapped to mine in surprise. It was my fault. He didn't say anything. He just stared at me. Oz watches me go back to making the bed. He walks to the door and opens it. You don't need to make the bed. One of the maids can do that. I'll be back later on. Don't try to escape again while I'm gone. Please. I rolled my eyes. I could never fully escape you. We'll always be under the same sky. Look at the same ocean and breathe the same air. Oz freezes for a moment, but quickly corrects himself and leaves. Once I heard the door click shut, I sagged in relief. It was a little draining being in each other's company. I went and had a shower to start my day. I forgot my shower stuff, so I had to use RSS. After my shower, I came out and saw that the drawers have already been filled with my stuff. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You must have done it while I was asleep. I got changed into some jeans and a jumper. I tied my hair into a bun since it was still wet. I left my face free of makeup and just moisturized it instead. I walked out of his room casually, but was stunned when I saw two giant guys standing on either side of the double door. I gulped. Who are you guys? Oz has ordered us to guard this room and this hall. They must be part of his army. Oh, was all I could say. I didn't know what I was supposed to say. Thank you for your service. I quickly walked out of there and went down the giant staircases in my slippers. It's weird that I dressed so casually in this giant castle fit for a queen. Its extravagance was to the max. The walls were decorated with the most detailed designs made out of golds and paints. I never thought that I would see something as grand as this. I went downstairs, but stumbled on the last little stair because a wave of dizziness had overcome me. I shook it off and it slowly went away after a couple of seconds. As I kept walking, I noticed that there were other guards stationed on certain parts of the halls and rooms. Were they everywhere? Why are they here? Maids were everywhere, holding clean sheets as if they were preparing rooms. What's going on? I went into the breakfast room and sighed in relief when I saw the boys here. Except ours, of course. I sat and as usual, waited for my food. Did you guys see? It seems the sun has finally made an appearance. I know. Finally. Johnny groans. I am so happy that it's finally out. But wait. How were you able to see? The moon is still out. Donnie mumbles, so it's going on in the castle. I asked them. Oz raises his head with a mouthful and said in a muffled voice, Oz brought some warriors in from the pack. Thought it would be better security considering Vlad is back. And the rooms. Why are the maids preparing all of the rooms? Now all of them raised their heads at me. What? Donnie frowns. You don't know. I groan. Let's just all forever assume that I don't know anything since Oz won't tell me anything. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. We are hosting the ball. Oz AI informed me. I am surprised it didn't tell you. I rolled my eyes. In not. He hasn't really shared anything important. As soon as I said that, the memory of what he told me last night came to mind. His confession still shocked me, and I didn't want to believe it. Like he said to me that at a club, I need stop fantasizing. Stop reading into things because at the end, it'll only hurt myself. What kind of a ball is this? I thought you guys were like, really closed in. Although you don't let anybody into the castle like that. After taking a bite as I said, we are the most feared ancient creatures in Arcanas as well as the human world. Once every year we host a ball and invite people to portray our dominance and power. It helps prevent wars or rebellions against us, and also helps people find mates. My brows pull together. That sounds very political. Ozai snickers. Yes, well, we need to be involved in the political arena if we want people to not engage with us on a threatening level. Maids came and served us. I smiled when I saw I had Cocoa Pops. I haven't had these since I was at the pack. So people come and stay here at the castle, yes? After swallowing a bite I said. Isn't that risky? Having these random people stay here. Most of them aren't random. We've held this ball every year for 100 years. So who goes to these balls exactly? Donnie raises his head and said. A lot of packs go. Packs from Arcanas. But usually it's just the high-ranking families of these packs. Like Alphys, Betas, Gamma S and their mate. Is it only the packs of Arcanas? Why not the packs in the human world? Donnie tilted his head to the side in wonder. I never thought about the packs in the human world. Well, strategically speaking, I said carefully, I think it would benefit the Hellhounds much more if we at least invited the top 3 most powerful packs in the human world. But we are ghosts to them. We are a myth or legend to the human world. Wouldn't we be exposing ourselves? Donnie questions. I shook my head. Well, your legend became real the day you revealed yourself to my pack 15 years ago. Inviting them will not only be exposing yourself, but also letting people acknowledge your dominance and power over them in both realms. How is that not beneficial? Is this your plan to try and get your family to come over here? I said with a cheeky grin. I smiled and almost laughed before saying, obviously. Please let them come. The guys chuckled with each other. Estozian says, none of us are your mate. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylan Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You gotta go ask the big guy if you can invite them. I huffed in defeat. But he won't let them. Why don't one of you guys ask? It will sound better coming from you. Donnie rolls his eyes. This is not the same scenario where your friend asks your mom if you can stay over at their house. This is a political ball. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylan Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Which means pick up your balls and go ask him. I glare at him and growl. Ian laughs. You're E1 to talk. At least she got balls. Ian turned to me and said, unfortunately for our adorable little Donnie here, his ball growth was stunted due to the curse freezing his age. Therefore his balls are still the size of a little weepy. Donnie yells sarcastically. You don't need to tell that to everyone. It's not true, Iris. It's all still growing but in just immortal. He winks cheekily at Donnie. I won't ever let you live it down. Baby bro. Donnie rolls his eyes, but looks at me and gives a wink. I smirk and shook my head knowing he was being a cheeky bastard. Once I finished my Cocoa Pops I decided to go for a walk, knowing that guards were stationed literally everywhere. It should be safe enough, and I won't wonderful. I put on my boots and went outside. I smiled when I saw the frozen garden sparkle under the sun. It looked so magical and beautiful. I saw guards randomly walking around the place, probably patrolling the borders of the grounds. I walked behind the castle and saw that the mountain goes a little farther up. Interesting. This reminded me of the time when we were at war with Kendrick. We had to hide in the mountain throughout the winter. Climbing up, I thought of my father. He carried me while my mother carried my baby sister. I was amazed at how high we were and how beautiful it looked. As I climbed, I saw something attached to the face of the mountain. A tower that was in ruins. How had I not seen it before? I kept going up, trudging through the snow. I snuggled deeper in my jacket. I saw that there was an entrance built into the mountain. I wonder who thought to build this. I looked inside, seeing it was dark, but I could see there was light at the other end. I cautiously went inside and looked around. This tunnel was perfectly carved. There was even small accents of designs on the walls all around. I walked out of the tunnel. I saw a giant rock with the most beautiful tree growing out of the middle. My breath was taken by its beauty. The tree was leafless, but it did not seem lifeless at all. It was encased in this crystal-like covering. I could see every passage, root and every vein within the tree because it was glowing in a pale green light. Crystal droplets hung down from the tree, similar to a willow tree, but so much more beautiful. Does anyone know it was here? I walked around it. The roots dug deep within the rock. I looked around the place and saw there was a quiet little stream flowing through the snow and out over an opening in the wall, letting it free. Everything was so beautiful. My wolf inside of me felt overjoyed to be here, almost like it was called to this place. This place seems very sacred and very ancient, I have to say. I'm rather surprised to see you here. I yelped in fright and turned around to see Oz casually looking at the tree with his hands tucked in his pants. Will you just stop popping up everywhere? Do you even know how to say hi? Or hello? Oz rolls his eyes. Saying hi is overused. At least I'm original in my introduction. I released a deep breath and looked back at the tree. Do you know of this place? He nods his head. People have said that there was a high and ancient place where the werewolves thought could reach the heavens and reach the moon goddess's home itself. I sat down on a random rock, hoping it's not some sacred ornament. This is the place, yup. The knowledge of its location was supposed to be passed down from generation to generation. But soon, people lost the faith until they stopped believing entirely. Have you lost your faith? Oz sits down beneath the giant tree and shook his head. No, we sat down in silence, both admiring the beauty of this amazing tree. I want to tell you a story. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Would you like to listen to it? He asks without looking. I leaned back against the rock. Yes, I would. The witch had granted me one memory 50 years ago. I was at my darkest point in life and she thought she would reward me. So I asked her to give me a memory of my mother. And so she did. I assume you know the story of how the werewolves came to be. How the moon goddess gave a great portion of her power away in order to be formed into a human body, so then she could be with her human lover for one night in the sanctuary gardens. I remembered my Aunt Lizzie telling me the story of how uncles undertook her there on their getaway. It was during a very serious time when my aunt was in danger. So my uncle thought to take her away to give her a chance to forget the troubles in the pack. I nodded my head. My Aunt Lizzie told me the story. Good. Oz said. You will need to know it if you want to know this one. He stands up and walks to the edge where the walls were broken, leaving around a meter-long crack, letting us see the view from up high. Once upon a time that no one could remember, there were the heavens. Gods and goddesses with their own gifts and responsibilities contributed to the harmony of the cosmos, our universe. The moon goddess ruled the night. She was responsible for the creatures and working order of things that concerned the moon and sky. However, one god in particular took joy in disrupting the harmony. He was a trickster, a lover of chaos. He was called Kiro. One night, the moon goddess, she hid her power so that she could take form as a human. It was her desire to be with the man she loved for one night. While she was away, Kiro was looking to cause trouble. It was his desire to steal the moon goddess's hidden power. He snuck into her territory, finding a maze, like chamber made out of pure glass. He travels inside, looking for the hidden treasure. To his surprise, he found a girl with hair as silver as moonlight. Stunned by her beauty, he forgot all about finding the hidden treasure. Who are you? She asks with a gentle voice. I am a thief, my lady, he says honestly. He can't help but say the truth. I felt as if I may taint her light. She smiles kindly. Are you here to steal me away? It dawned on Kiro that it was her. The moon goddess had hidden her power inside this girl. At that moment, he knew. As a thief, it was his greatest desire to capture her heart. Every night he snuck into her chambers and he would stay until he couldn't. They fell in love. He desperately wanted to take her away. However, she was afraid to leave. She didn't know what would happen to her if she left her sanctuary. Kiro assured his love that he would take care of her. So one evening, she fell asleep. Kiro gently lifted her up. His feet only walked but a distance when her moonlit eyes opened wide. She looked at her one love and she smiled. She faded into a flower that would bloom under the moonlight only once. Kiro was devastated. He realized he could not steal what was never meant to leave. People turn the story into legend. They say his spirit will forever try find his lost love for all eternity. When ours was done, he walked to me. He raised his hand and brushed wetness away from my cheek. I hadn't realized that tears fell from my eyes. Don't cry. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He said softly, It's just a story. It's a very sad story. I said quietly. Oz left his hand on my cheek and stares into my eyes. Why did you tell me that story? It's one of my favorite stories. I wanted to share it with you. My breath hitched when I saw him glance down at my lips. Oh my gosh. Was he going to? But then his hand drops and he steps away. His soft eyes harden over. I felt my disappointment hit me hard. I assume the others have told you about the ball, he said in his usual dark voice. Yes, I said quietly. He nods his head. Good. It will be held tomorrow night. Then he walks off, leaving me in such impacted state. The story affected me more than I thought it would. And Oz being cold toward me had affected me more than I thought also. I lean against the stone-cold wall and look up at the sky. Help me, please. Chapter 23. Oz said he was going to be late tonight and to not hold up. Not that I was even going to. So I decided to have a nice hot shower. His bathroom was massive. It was the size of my lounge. The shower was the size of my bathroom. It was the most extravagant bathroom I had ever been naked in. I decided to take a little longer and pamper myself. I shaved everywhere. Everywhere that needed to be shaven. I exfoliated and I had a face mask on in the shower for a while. It felt amazing. I left a hair mask in as well. I did the whole shebang. After I was completely clean, I stepped out of the shower. I looked around for my towel. I groaned when I realized that I forgot it. I rolled my eyes at myself because of course this would happen to me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Because I have the worst luck in the whole world. How am I going to get it? Oh, Iris. Why do you get yourself into these situations? I seriously have the worst luck. I literally do. I mean like, a lot of people fall through some frozen lake or river. The worst they did get was a cold. Me, I go blind for 15 years. If that isn't bad luck, I don't know what is. Oz, he was going to be late. And I haven't had anyone come in for a while. It should be okay. Right. He leaves his towel on top of the drawers. I'll just quickly run in and cover myself. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Okay, Iris. You can do this. Get ready. I had my hand on the doorknob. Get set. I twisted the knob go. I opened the door and run out. But to my utter shock, I slam into a chest. A very particular chest, but I hoped to avoid this whole time. I look up with my eyes wide and mouth open in total and utter mortification. Oz looks down at me and I could see it. He was stunned that I ran out of the bathroom. But naked. I never knew how forward you were. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I scowl at him. Close your eyes. Right now. I had no choice but to stay pressed up against him so then he couldn't see anything. But I was sure as hell he could definitely feel everything. I will. Soon. I growled at him. You have already mocked me without my permission. You will not see me naked without my saying so. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Now stop being a pervert. His brow worked up into an arc and said, Yeah, but you're either one running around my bedroom naked. Flower. I grunted in annoyance. I glanced behind him and saw the towel. If he was going to budge, then I will make him budge myself. I shoved him with my body and I tried to shuffle toward the drawers. I stumbled slightly, which in turn made him stumble also. He pressed his hand onto my back to stabilize me. My breath hitched as I felt his hand on my bare skin. Sparks radiated from my back and struck my chest like an electric strike. His jaw clenches and his eyes darkened slightly. His breathing fastened as we both knew what we were feeling. I noticed the towel were right next to us now. I coughed a little, quickly grabbed the towel. Oz drops his hand, looks away and lets me cover myself. I should probably get changed, I said quietly. Oz clears his throat and scratches the back of his neck. He drops his gaze to the floor. Yes, of course. He'll have a shower. He quickly disappears into the shower, and I disappear into the closet. I sag down the wall, still gripping onto my towel. That was mortifying. I felt not only my cheeks heat up, but my whole body. I felt the deep embarrassment, but I couldn't help but kind of laugh. Oh, how I get myself into the worst situations. Like I said, bad luck. My mind whizzes back to that moment. That feeling. I felt it. The attraction. I've tried so hard to resist, but I let my guard down just for a moment. And it felt good. More than good. I wanted more of it. I felt my body had already melted into a pool. I wanted, wait. Iris, what are you doing? Naughty Iris. Stop it. You're being silly. Stop making up fantasies in your head. I block my mind of the most shameful moment of my entire life and yet the most exciting. I changed into a casual shirt and pajama shorts. I tied my hair into a bun as I entered the closet. Oz was already in his bed, looking at his phone. I noticed again his small leather book. He seems to always take it everywhere. I didn't think much of it. I didn't even look at him as I went to my side of the bed. I climbed in and pulled the blanket over me. I grabbed some pillows and began to build a line between us. Oz notices. What are you trying to do? He asks curiously. I am building a boundary. If you cross this line, I have every right to stab you, I said matter-of-factly. Oz looks at the wall for a moment and shrugs his shoulders. Fair enough. Once there was a very defined pillow wall. I tucked deeper into my blanket and pulled my laptop over my lap. As soon as I opened my laptop, a picture of me and my family pops up. It reminded me of what I wanted to ask. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He grumbles while looking at his phone. I was wondering. Tomorrow night. It's a political event. Shouldn't the top pack in the human world be invited? He stops typing and turns to me. You mean? Your family. I hesitantly nodded. I mean. He was silent for a moment. He put his phone down on his lap. But only your parents and the Alpha and Luna. I groaned. Please. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. But I froze as I just processed what he just said. They can come. Yes, it makes sense for them to come since they are technically involved in Arcanion business. I nodded my head. Right. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I tried to contain my excitement as I said, thank you. I snuggled down in the bed and turned over. I had the biggest smile on my face, especially because I have not seen them, actually seen them for years. I just wonder what they all look like now. Ours turned the lamps off and bathed the both of us in total darkness. The only light we had was the moon, slightly shining through the curtains. I felt the bed shake slightly as Oz pulls the cover over himself. I quickly glanced over my shoulder and see Oz had turned over, leaving his back to face me. I breathed a sigh of relief. Though I felt comfortable, I was kept awake from this electric tension between us. I was so aware of his presence it was insane. I wonder if he was just as aware as I was. I wonder if H is even asleep. Is he asleep? I really wanted to turn over and look, but I knew I shouldn't. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. The only reason I am here is for my safety and that's it. Nothing else. Slowly as the minutes ticked by, I felt my nerves sink into a slumber. Throughout the night, I slept okay, except for the fact Oz that moves around every second in his sleep. Like a lot. I was sleeping peacefully on my side of the bed when suddenly I get kicked off. Literally. What the? Hey, you can't. I stand and see Oz was still fast asleep. Oh no. He may be bossy and brutish. He gets what he wants. But not this. He will not steal my sleep from me. That is something I will not budge on. I crawl back on the bed and build the pillow fortress again. Not that it will do anything, but it will make me feel better. Once done, I snuggled back into bed and closed my eyes with a content smile. That was before our SS freaking elbows my back. I growl and turn over. He was sprawled everywhere on the bed. I get why it was so massive now. He moves like 8 sheets freaking awake. I kicked him in the butt. A very firm butt at that. My foot literally bounced off. All he does is groans and that's it. I try go back to sleep. But it became hard to when Oz rolls over. On top of me. Literally. At first I was really annoyed. That was until I had a close-up view of his defined chest and ABS. I mouthed to myself. Holy shit. I don't usually curse. But seeing a body like that. There is no other way to express what I was feeling. I groaned as I shoved him off. Will you stop moving around? He snaps up and growls at me. My mouth opens wide. You're kidding me. Mean. I'm the one moving around. I was having a peaceful sleep before I flew off the bed from your freaking foot. He rolls his tired eyes. Stop being dramatic. I'll just stay on your side of the bed. I hissed at him quietly. He grabs the blanket and turns over on his side of the bed. I grabbed the blanket and yanked as I turned over the opposite way. I was almost asleep again when I felt the blanket slowly being pulled from me. That is it. Stop taking the blankets. I growled at him as I tried to pull it away. Stop being annoying, he says in his pillow. I roll my eyes and roll over, pulling the blanket to my side more. Selfish. Clumsy. He snaps back. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Logan. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Prude. He shouts back creep. I yell back. There was a couple of seconds of no response. I smile and snuggle deeper into my pillow and blanket. I win. Whatever. G-night. He grumbles. Even though he sounded grumpy, hearing him say still made me kinda happy. I began to blush and say, good night. Oh my gosh. What is wrong with me? Wait. What is wrong with us? The sun rising. The light streaming through the curtains woke up me. I squinted my eyes open and groaned as I stretched. I was lying on my stomach. I turned my head the other way and I was fully awake from what I saw. Oz too was on his stomach, but facing me. My sleepy haze was gone and I froze when I saw our hands held each other in the middle of the pillow wall. Our fingers were tightly interlaced. Crap. We must have done it in our sleep. Well, do I just let go? Ugh, why did I do this in my sleep? As I looked at him, his face was void of all anger or coldness. He looked so peaceful. I could almost see what he would have been like when he was so brooding all the time. I nervously withdrew my hand from his. His brows pulled together into a frown. I climbed out of bed and went into the shower. I loved the feeling of the hot water. Once I felt awake and ready for the day. I actually brought a towel with me this time. I dried myself and changed. I walked out of the bathroom to see I was already gone. I was surprised at myself when I felt a slight bit of disappointment at the sight of the empty bed. Good. You're done with the bathroom. I yelped and turned around to see Oz come in the room wearing loose basketball shorts with a wife, beat-a shirt and earphones hanging around his neck. He must have been training. I gulped and nodded my head. He walked past me while taking his shirt off. I cowed and helped, but steal a glance. His back was so broad. Each muscle deliciously defined. His shoulders were biggened. I shook my head. Stop it, Iris. I quickly went out of the room before I fell into another trance. Though it was early in the morning, the maids were all busy. People were polishing, mopping, tidying, decorating, etc. They were going all out. I felt bad for them. I walked into the ballroom and saw people on ladders hanging up flower arrangement decorations. Lights and witches spelling the roof to make it look like a night sky. I saw a woman standing there telling everyone what to do. She was scratching her head as if was stressed. I decided to approach her. Hello. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She turns to me with wide eyes as they look tired. Oh, hello there. You are. I smile politely. My name is. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She quickly bows her head. Oh, Iris. She raises her head. You must be our SS mate. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Yes, are you managing the ball? She smiles tiredly. Yes, it's a lot of work. Perhaps I could help. In free. I'd be happy to help. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Thank you so much, she exclaimed happily. My name is Louis. She extends a hand and I shake it kindly. I need to go see how the food is doing. Would you mind trying to tell everyone here where to put decorations? Ours had only just informed me that he wanted a totally different arrangement for the ball. I have no idea what he would want. I smiled and nodded my head. Don't worry, Louis. I'll take care of it. I'm sure you have other important things to attend to. Her smile was filled with gratitude as she quickly walks away while beginning to talk to someone on the phone. I turn around and smiled at everybody. Hello, everyone. Let's get to work. I made sure everything was perfect before I left the ballroom. I made sure everyone had a few minutes break every hour so that they wouldn't drain themselves. It was actually pretty cool getting to meet a lot of the staff here. I felt more settled. I hadn't seen the boys or ours all day. I assumed they had things to do to prepare for tonight. As I was walking back to the bedroom, I lost my balance for just a moment when I had a slight dizzy spell. I shook it off and continued on, not thinking much of it. I went to my own bedroom this time. I wanted to get ready by myself. As soon as I entered, I saw a white box on my bed. A note was there. Something to wear for tonight. Darny, I smiled and shook my head. Of course he would be the one to tell me what to wear. I opened the box and I gasped in shock. The dress was stunning. I pulled it out and my shock only grew as I saw more of the dress. It literally was a princess dress. It was a strapless heart-shaped green gown. It literally had a poofy skirt and a corset and everything. Small diamonds shaped in flowers embroidered the corset. I felt so inadequate to wear such a beautiful gown. This kind of dress was fit for a queen. But other thoughts were invading my mind also. How would Oz like it? I was annoyed at myself for even thinking that because I didn't want to care what he thinks. But a part of me does. Would he find me beautiful? I took a deep breath and I shook my head. You know what? Screw it. I am going to wear this dress. I don't care. I smiled to myself. I want to feel like a freaking queen just for one night. I've been blind for 15 freaking years. I deserve to look and feel beautiful. I grab all of my things and head to the shower. It's time to beautify myself. I had my robe on and my hair was up in rolls. I had just finished blow, drying them and spraying them. Now I am leaving them to set while I do my makeup. I have done my foundation and contour. I left the eyes for last. My eyes were bright blue. I wanted them to stand out. So I decided to do a smoky eyes. But, with a twist, I would add a slight bit of green to it. I put on my fake lashes because I decided to put on a pinky nude color. I didn't want my lips to be too dramatic since everything else was. I let the rolls in my hair out and I lightly run my fingers through the curls to separate them. I used the bobby pins to hold my hair up in a fancy bun. I then put on some diamond studs. I gulped and looked at myself. Well, crap. I look freaking amazing. I laughed as I whirled. I never thought I could look this beautiful. But I did. I turned toward the bed and saw heels awaiting for my feet. I smiled as I put them on. A knock sounded at the door as I finally tied the last strap on my heels. Who is it? SOZ in Andoni. Oz told us to escort you when you were ready. As I opened the door, I brushed my hand over the puffy dress. Hey, do you guys think? I raised my head and saw both this and Donnie standing there wide-eyed with their mouths open as well. Holy shit. Ozzy mumbled in a state of shock. I winced. Do I look that bad? Both of them shook their head immediately. No, they both shouted. Their mouth still gaped open. I roll my eyes. In the words of my grandmother, close your mouth. You look like a guppy fish. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I mean, I knew you were hot, but I never knew that you could be this hot. I suppose Ian said as his eyes roamed up and down my whole dress. Thank you, I said, in hesitation. I was sure if I should feel good or offended by that. Johnny winks at me. The dress is nice. Right. Where did you even get this? Johnny casually shrugs. There's a lot of old stuff lying around. I stepped out of the room and closed my doors. Both the boys looked at me apologetically. We would offer our arms to you. But we're not allowed. Not allowed. Johnny rolls his eyes. It's just ours being a psycho again. Ozzy chuckles. Achias ordered us not touch you as we escort you to the ball. Are you kidding me? I hold my shoulders back and head high. If he didn't want anyone to touch me then, he should have escorted me himself. But he didn't. His loss, Donnie said cheekily. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Gentlemen should depart for the ball that is only a few holes away. Both the guys looked at each other and smirked. They turned around and offered their arms for me. I smiled as I took them. If we get killed, I'm gonna blame you. Donnie whispers to me. I smiled and shook my head. If you guys get killed, they'll make sure to celebrate. As they guided me, I began to feel a little nervous. I didn't know what to expect exactly. A whole room filled with alphas and lunas. Deep breaths. I heard Ozzy say gently. No need to be nervous. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He looks down at me and smiles. His eyes soften a little. You look beautiful. My heart was moved. I knew that he was being serious. By the way, I saw the ballroom. You did a really good job. It looks great, Donnie said cordially. Thanks. I thought we should have something different, I said shyly. I guess I was too used to being complimented by them. It felt nice though. It's a good idea. We've had the same ball arrangements for a while. It's good to mix things up a bit. Ozzy commented. We entered the ballroom and my eyes widened at the amount of people there were. So many alphas and lunas, as well as people from the Arcanist Council. I took a deep breath as we continued to walk in. My grips on the boys' arms tight and slightly as I began to get anxiety. However, I felt comforted when they both placed their hands over my own. I looked at the whole setup and I was proud of myself. The flower arrangements were made into beautiful vines of white roses, dangling down from the high ceiling. The roof was betwixt KG to look like the night sky. They wanted to make the diamonds float around the vines of roses. However, I thought it would be more pretty if it were diamond snowflakes. That's a lot of people, I said as I took a deep breath. Don't let them intimidate you, as Ozzy said. Remember, you're ERSS, mate. You're his equal and HES, the most powerful out of all of us. Shoulders back and head high. You're the queen for the night, Lil. I listened to Sozin's words, and they inspired me. I mean, I am a queen all the time. But tonight, I get to show it off. I've always been treated like him, made out of glass and in tan. I acted like I was made out of glass too. Like I was weak. But here, the guys treat me like I'm one of them. That I am strong. And because they believed in me, I felt it. I felt strong. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I looked up ahead on the top of the balcony where the stairs led up to. Oz was standing there with a wine glass in his hand. Thank you all for coming to our annual ball. We hope as a result, there will be many good memories as well as friendships being made tonight. I hope you all enjoy the drinks and food. Oz raises his glass and said, May all be blessed on this fine evening. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Everyone who had a glass raised their drink and took a sip. Everyone went back to mingling and laughing together. As Ian and Donnie went around, introducing me to all of the alphas and lunas of different packs. I felt this thought teaching at the back of my mind. I felt like Carr should be the one to guide me around the room, introducing me to people. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I heard a familiar voice that made my wolf jump around inside of me. My head whips to my right and I broke out in an excited smile. My family. I looked up at the boys and they gently stepped away. Thank you, I said them both. I gave them a kiss on the cheek. If you need anything or feel uncomfortable, just come to one of us, Asosian said to me. I nodded my head before quickly walking to my family. I was shocked to literally see the whole family. Even my cousins were here. I didn't even know that they were invited. I snickered to myself. Knowing them, they probably invited themselves. I laughed in happiness as I saw my parents. I leapt into their arms and they embraced me tightly. Mon Dad, I shouted in joy. Oh, I have my baby again. My mother laughs. She cups my face as tears glistened in her eyes. You look absolutely stunning. My dear, I am so proud of you. I felt my own eyes sting of tears. I can't handle it when my mother cried. Because when she cries, then I cry. My father steps in and gives me a big hug. I'm so happy you're okay, Lil. I hold on to my father tightly and said, I missed you. Papa. He kissed my forehead and said in a shaky voice, I missed you too, baby girl. My mother stared at me curiously for a minute and then her eyes widened. Hold on a minute, my mother said. You can see us. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I said nervously. Arcanas is very different. I explained to my parents. They have many different species and sorcery here. And for some reason, my eye seems to respond to them. I always knew you were a freak of nature. I roll my eyes when I face my big cousin Leo. I squealed as I lunged into his arms and gave him a giant embrace. I was so happy. What about me? I heard a higher voice. I laughed and turned to my little sister. Come here, Genevieve. She smiles and gives me a giant hug. For an 18-year-old, she was strong. She looked like me except with black hair. Everyone in my family had dark hair except me. I went around and hugged everybody. I saw Uncles Anda and Aunt Lizzie, their kids Leo, and his two little sisters Penelope and Nina. Uncle Noah and Aunt Mia along with their kids Finn. Jack and their newborn baby girl named Sophie. And last but not least, Uncle Sol and Aunt Taylor with their kids Noah and his little sister Valentina. And I was also expecting another pup. I was so happy to see them all. Literally, they looked the exact same. Seriously, they haven't changed at all. They might look the tiniest bit older, but other than that, the exact same. I think what surprised me the most were the older boys, Leo, Finn and Noah. They've grown a lot. They're huge, probably bigger than their dads, but I'm sure they're proud. It made me a little sad to think I can't see them grow, but that's okay. I get to see them now, and that's all that counts. My father and mother along with my uncles and aunties dispersed in the crowd, all of them talking to other alphas and lunas. My little sister came to me in her beautiful gown and said, there are so many hot males everywhere, I can't handle it. She tried to say subtly. Stop it. Jen, they can hear you. She laughs. I hope they do. Then they'll know I am single and ready to mingle. I'm serious, Lil. How can you even contain yourself? Oh wait, that's right. You have a mate. But let me tell you, your mate is freaking gorgeous. She almost yells. Shut up, I said through my teeth. Yes, a freaking hellhound. She rolls her eyes. It doesn't mean he has had a hearing. Get it? Oh my gosh, I said as I pinched the bridge of my nose. But Lil, your mate is like divine. I've never seen anyone so good-looking in my entire life. Like I bet the moon goddess was like. A pinch of danger, a pinch of personality, a pinch of good looks. Oh shit. I poured the whole bottle of goods inside the freaking wound that gave birth to perfection. You know, like I always thought that. I zoned my sister's little rant out as I scanned the area. My eyes immediately found ours because, well, yes, ours. My heart raced slightly when I saw him in a tux. His black hair slicked back while his glowing green eyes still shine as bright as ever. Christmas came early for me, didn't it? He was talking seriously with some alpha. He glanced my way for only a moment and he did a double take. His eyes locked onto mine. His gaze traveled down my body and back up to my face. I gulped as I felt the intensity of his stare. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. And my moment was dead as soon as I heard that voice. I was totally and utterly at loss of words when I saw Ethan, as in my ex-boyfriend Ethan. I said, bewildered. So this is what he looked like. He had blonde hair, blue eyes. He was cute, but I wasn't into cute. Guilt was in his eyes as he smiled nervously down at me. Hey, what are you doing here? I asked, totally confused. I turned and saw he was right behind me. I grabbed his expensive suit and pulled him near me. Why the hell is Ethan here? Leo looked confused as he answered. What do you mean? You guys are back together, aren't you? Why would you even think that? I said it in a low and harsh whisper. Leo nods toward Ethan. He said you guys had been in contact and sorted stuff out. He said that you were only here to help your mate. Reject him and go back to Ethan. That freaking liar. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. We are not back together, oh. Does he even know who my mate is? Lee shook his head. I groaned as I felt a headache coming on. I can't believe HES even here. In Arkansas. Hardly anyone knew this place existed. How could he even be here? Leo rubs my back comfortingly. All right, so he lied. He steps around me and said, wait here, while I go beat the asshole. I grab Leo's arm before he did anything. No, don't. There's, who are you beating up? Finn came in as well as Noah. Are we beating up someone? Noah asks excitedly. Leo steps back closer. We're beating up Ethan. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. They're not back together. Wait, can I come? Jack came in. Finn's little brother. Finn rolled his eyes. No, Jack, you're too young. You stay with Genevieve. Genevieve steps in and scoffed with her arms crossed over her chest. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I want to beat his ass too. Why am I too young to come? I'm old enough to have a mate, so I should be able to come and at least slap him. Leo growls at them. Everyone shut up. It's just us older three. Come on, boys. Suddenly all three of my cousins started to slowly move toward Ethan. I quickly went in front of them and held my hands up. Just wait a minute here and let me speak. This is a very important event. There are a lot of powerful people here. You can't just go and start beating someone. If you want to do that at home. All three of them stood there in thought. Lee tilts his head to the side. So we can at home. I nodded my head tiredly. Yes, Leo nods his head. Well, do it at home. I sighed in relief as they walked off and began to socialize once again. I walked to Ethan and said, you need to leave. I growled at him. Look, this is an invite-only ball. You were not invited. I said firmly. He grabs a hold of my hands and said, please. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I was an asshole. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I was ready to take on all your blind stuff, but I am now. I shook my head. No, Ethan, what you did hurt me. We were together for a long time. You had convinced me that we would be mates in the future, but then you dumped me and went on a European tour with Alexa. Your ex? Ethan rubs his eyes stressfully. I know. And that was an asshole move. But, no. Just stop. Go home. I don't want you here. I could see he began to get frustrated. But we fit perfectly together. Come back and be with me. I will provide for you and I will love you. Your mate doesn't even want you. He doesn't even care about you. Why stay? I gulped. I opened my mouth to say something snarky back. But I realized he was kinda right. Oz didn't want me. And I don't think he cares for me. I shook my head. That's not the point. You hurt me. The more I looked at him, the more I was reminded of our time together. I liked him a lot. We were high school sweethearts. He promised me that he thought we were going to be mates. He said he would love me and cherish me forever. And I was stupid enough to believe it. I was scared that no one would want me because of my disability. So when Ethan started to make these big promises and confessions of love, I cowed at myself. As he stepped near me, I felt my body respond a little bit. The farthest we had gone was just making out. He wanted to go further, but I didn't. I cleared my throat and took a step back. I would be fooling myself to think he was attractive. I mean, this was the first time to ever see him. He was cute and hot and all that, but I knew better. I fell for his voice. I'm not going to fall for a pretty face either. Ethan took a step forward. I jumped slightly when I felt his hand on my hips. He raises his hand and tucked a hair behind my ear. A flash of a memory came to mind. It was of ours whenever he tucked my hair behind my ear. Come on. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Give me a chance. I can make you happy. Make you feel wanted. I was going to accept such an offer. But for second, only for a split second did I consider it. You are right. Little Soze appears at my side. We just came to check on you. Donnie appears on my other side and has his hand on my back. Ethan takes a step back and glares at them. She's fine. Soze smirks but with no drip of humor at all. Donnie said in a not very nice voice. We were asking our sister. Not you. I could see Ethan sizing both of them up. Ethan was a big guy, but he was nothing compared to Soze and Donnie. Which one of you are her mate? They'll challenge him here and now. My eyes widen. What? Soze chuckles. None of us are. But trust me, you don't want to meet her mate. Ethan says over, confident lie. What is he? An alpha. I can take him. Trust me. Ethan turns to me and winks as if he was acting all over, protective when he was actually being overly annoying. Donnie laughs. An alpha. He continues to laugh. Oh, buddy. You are too confident for your own good. Obviously no one has informed you about anything. Have they? Suddenly a tall and broad figure appeared behind Ethan. Donnie and Soze both smirk at my ex. You're in my way. Boyars growled lowly. Ethan gulped and turned around. His eyes widened in pure terror. See Oz. He just stares down at Ethan as nothing. Who are you? Ethan gulps. Am I recess boyfriend? What? I exclaimed. Oz snickers, showing off his wolfish fangs. Funny, because I'm her mate. All the blood drains from Ethan's face. He was trying to act like a badass. Keyword acting. Ethan stepped aside like a little puppy. Oz came to my side and wraps his arm around my waist, pulling me close in. Wait, Iris. I close my eyes as I hear Ethan say my name. He looks at me pleading me. Please. I love you. I love you. The most overused and manipulative words ever. I remember the times he would say I love you. Even when he broke up with me he said it. All of our good memories flash into my mind. I felt a slight pang of hurt. I flinch at his words. I look down to the ground. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Is this your boyfriend? Oz asks firmly. I reply quietly, no. That's what I thought. Oz presses firmly against my waist and dashes me away from the guy who broke my heart. I raised my head and my breath hitched as his green eyes poured into my own. All thoughts of Ethan vanished as I felt completely enchanted by his presence. "Do you dance?" he asks with a familiar reflection in his eyes. This did feel. I felt my lips slowly tug into a small grin as I said mischievously. Only when asked properly. His eyes stared at me a little longer than normal before replying with a challenging smirk. I rescrow of the blood moon tech. "Will you dance with me?" The tugging pulled with more force than I felt my smile as I placed my small hand into his large calloused one. He never broke eye contact as his hand closed over mine with the utmost care.